Leonard, how are you, sir?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am definitely online. Okay. All right, we're live. So what I want to do right now is just introduce everybody to Benny. Benny is my friend. I met Benny online maybe within the last 8 months. Exactly. So Benny pretty much, if you guys look here on the screen, you're going to see a little yellow bubble, orangish bubble, and that is actually Benny typing from his computer. So I've actually got to know this gentleman from this little bubble here, and he's pretty fucking cool. He's a cool dude, cool person. I've got to know him a little bit. Definitely look forward to getting to know him a lot more. But he's had a lot of interest in this whole story of me going on Dr. Phil and confronting this guy that I'm claiming to be a predator. So as you can see here, Benny's going to type on his screen and he's going to ask questions. So just so you guys know, we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to do some questions and answers for the audiences out there. And Benny's going to, put the questions on screen. So look on his screen. He's going to be typing there and I'll be responding. And yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go, Ben. Yeah, exactly. So recently I did lose my YouTube channel. That is correct. I received 3 strikes on my YouTube channel that Dr. Phil was asking me to take down. It definitely was, Richard definitely was flagging the videos. He had a couple of friends that he had flagging the videos as well. No, that was the only channel I lost recently. Maybe, 3 months, 4 months ago. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Richard has even since posted videos since then telling everybody that my channel was shut down, and he, in the comment section, he makes sure to thank a few people out there. Yeah. So for anybody out there that's catching up, my name's Leonard Osborns. I went on Dr. Phil to expose a guy whose name is Richard Granule Wellner. On the show, he appeared on stage as a Sacramento rap artist by the name of OG Raw Deal. But Richard is a very sophisticated, tricky con artist. The fact that I went on Dr. Phil and he had the ability of fooling some people out there, even in front of Dr. Phil, goes to show the class of a con artist he is. He's actually really good. Is he a studio gangster? No. Yeah. Unfortunately, Richard, from my research, I didn't know Richard was into music. It took me, after I got stalked, it took me a couple of years to find out that he actually had this whole other altered personality where he was a rap artist recording videos of himself. You know what? I've never heard him speak Spanish. He can't. He can barely speak English. If you listen to the way he talks, he'll say "dis" for this, or he'll say "dat" for that. He's not from the hood. He's not from the hood. He just, he's a studio gangster. No. I don't know where he was born, to be honest with you. He's posh. Yeah, man. It's a sad story. It's a sad story. That's a good question. I'm going to launch an official lawsuit against Dr. Phil and his network. I wouldn't say I feel used by Dr. Phil. I say that Dr. Phil malpracticed in my case. He made some big mistakes in approaching my whole story, my whole situation of getting stalked by this guy and getting threatened by this guy. And his producers made a couple of mistakes. And then they left me out to hang to dry. 2 years went by. A lot of people don't know this. 2 years went by where I continued to get stalked after the Dr. Phil network stepped in. And, I lost my kids, I lost my job, I almost lost myself. And, 2 years later, Dr. Phil put me on stage and didn't say a thing about it. He tried covering up what really actually happened. Dr. Phil didn't care to solve the case. He didn't care to solve the case. He didn't care to look at the truth to see who was really getting stalked. Dr. Phil's main motive was to get me on stage, to intimidate me into deleting the evidence that I had against him and his producers. Because at the time when I went on stage, I had videos on my YouTube channel where I said I was going to sue Dr. Phil. So there was bad blood between Dr. Phil and I going on stage, and he didn't tell anybody about that. Do I feel he made it worse? Absolutely. He made it worse 2 years prior to me going on stage, where one of his producers threatened to take Richard off of the streets because they saw the footage. They saw the footage of this guy calling little kids, claiming he could read their minds by touching their shoulder. They saw the footage of this guy calling my house and admitting to threatening my children. All the meanwhile, Richard is sitting there with this stalking order that he got by committing perjury. It's a very dangerous situation. And when his producers stepped in, they threatened to take him off the streets. Dr. Phil called Richard and said, "This is too dangerous, we're not doing the show." And then I continued to get stalked. Richard, 3 months after that, made an article saying I went to prison for raping a little girl. I emailed the Dr. Phil producers, sent them the article, and they said, "Sorry, there's nothing we can do." And my life got torn apart. And 2 years later, Dr. Phil goes and puts me on stage and tries to get me to delete everything. That is correct. So, at the end of the show, a lot of people didn't see it because the president came out with a national address that cut the end of the show off from live TV. But the actual recorded program does show that Richard admits to making a newspaper article that stated, "I raped a little girl and went to prison for it." I mean, he sent it to everybody, millions of people. Correct. So a lot of the times you're going to see Richard with videos or screenshots or clips or posts where he's showing people that I have mugshots. And, I do. I have a mugshot from having possession of marijuana. The DA never charged me because they knew it was going to be legal. Now marijuana is legal. So it's legal for recreational use is what I mean to say. And that's what I was using it for at the time. I I didn't have any injuries or anything like that. Correct. Correct. This is the big one. This is the big one for everybody out there to see on Benny's screen here. Dr. Phil producer Amy lied about not giving evidence. So if you guys remember, I walked on stage and Dr. Phil says, "Well, you didn't send our producers evidence." But the truth is, they knew all about my evidence. Yeah, her name was Amy Wood. Amy Joe, Amy O. You know what? I'll have to look back. I'll have to look back at my emails. I know her first name was Amy, and she was the Asian producer that walked on stage. The funny thing about that, you guys, is when I was working with the Dr. Phil network, when they contacted me. Okay, listen here. This is important. When they contacted me the second time, I had videos online saying I was going to sue Dr. Phil, and the producers called me and said, "Listen, we made a mistake. Dr. Phil was wrong. We were wrong. The producer that helped this, made a huge mistake in your life and caused you a lot of torment, is not even working with the Dr. Phil network anymore. And Dr. Phil wants to make this right. He wants to fix what he did wrong." That's the exact language that was being spoken to me. Okay. Because at the time I was like, "No, you guys screwed me over. You fucked my life over. You fucked my life over. I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost my kids. I lost my schooling. And you guys sat back and watched the entire time. And now you want to help?" So that was my language that I was speaking to them with. And at the time they were telling me, "Well, I think it would be really good if people got to see exactly what it is that you went through and what someone like Richard can do behind a computer. People will be able to learn off of your experience." And when I heard that, I said, that would be something positive. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You want to play the Dr. Phil segment where I'm confronting Richard. It looks like Benny wants to put that on screen right now just to kind of remind everybody of me confronting Dr. Phil.
I sent it to you, but you didn't send it to us. Is all
But
I'm saying.
you've completely disregarded this. What is that? What is that?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm happy to ask about it. This is Amy Jo. Did you receive these text messages from this gentleman?
I did not, and I wanted to show you, this is everything that we received from both Leonard and Rick, all the evidence that they sent us of text messages, and I did not have that one.
Okay. And
Sent it.
we do our homework here. This is a book. You can see we do our homework here. This.
Okay, this is good. Benny, let me go ahead and so that was it. Yes, now let me go ahead and talk here. This is very important for everybody to know what you guys just saw. It was cutting in and out because of the internet connection, but this is what is important. When I would, that show is edited. So if you go back and you play that frame by frame, you're going to see that they're editing the show. They're showing you things that happened 5 minutes into the show, 20 minutes into the show, and 40 minutes into the show, all in that one 60-second clip. So they're not being very honest. When you see me on stage and I'm saying just, what did I say? I go, why are you just, hold on here. Yeah, because I was saying, what is that? Why are you just letting that go? At the time, I was telling Dr. Phil, hey, this guy sent me images of a guy getting raped and stabbed in prison. And Richard was telling me in messages that if I flew to LA to go on the Dr. Phil show, I would be stopped at the airport because he had a warrant for my arrest, and that I would be raped by his friends in prison because he sent them this newspaper article saying I raped a little girl. And Dr. Phil didn't confront Richard about it. Anybody who's listening to this right now has no idea that this happened to me. Richard was threatening to have me raped if I even tried going to LA to go on his show. And the Dr. Phil producers and I were emailing each other back and forth, talking about these threats. And when I went on stage, Dr. Phil acknowledged that he received that evidence, but he refused to play it on stage and in front of everybody. And that's why you see me saying, why are you just blowing that off? Why are you not addressing that? And so what they're doing is they're throwing that little segment in right to the part where Amy comes out with all the stalking orders that I filed against Richard, which the stalking orders that I filed against Richard, they show in there that Richard was threatening to have me raped and falsely imprisoned if I tried going on the Dr. Phil show. Dr. Phil didn't say anything to the American people about that. And he didn't have an answer. Now hold on, let me explain something here. So when I was dealing with Amy over the phone, I was dealing with a different producer before I spoke with Amy. I spoke with a producer who was called Marcial Rios. And Marcial Rios is the one who originally contacted me 2 years after they destroyed my life. And Marcial Rios is the one who said, give me all of your evidence. And I took 2 days off of work and I went to the library and I sent them everything, videos, phone calls of Richard calling my house, threatening me if I went on the show, phone calls of Richard calling my house, admitting that he threatened my children. They had all these phone calls of this guy calling little boys and girls, claiming he was a prophet that could read their minds if he touched their shoulder or gave them a hug. They had everything. Halfway through the show, halfway through the process of them trying to get me out there, I got this weird feeling that Amy was trying to set me up. It was really weird. I actually hung up on Amy and I emailed Marcial Rios. I still have all these emails. And I told him, you know what? I don't trust Amy. I think she's going to fuck me over. I want nothing to do with your show. Don't contact me. Don't email me. Don't contact me. They had another producer by the name of Dominic. And he called me while I was at work. He's like, no, we messed up. We made a mistake. We want to make things right. Dr. Phil really wants to help you. I remember him saying that. And he goes, you know what, Leonard? Sometimes in life, you got to say, fuck it. And I thought about it. And I thought about it. And I go, okay. And that's when they sent out a taxi that night, like within an hour, to come pick me up. They got me out there real quick. I did. I spoke to a couple of producers after the show, by phone call and by email. But after what happened on the show, as soon as I went backstage, just so everybody knows, as soon as I went backstage, I realized they fucked me over. And the producers walked in, and I go, wow, you know, you guys, I feel like I got railroaded. And the producer said, sorry, Leonard, all the footage you had, it came down to legalities. We weren't able to play it. And I said, well, you know, at least I was able to clear my name with this newspaper article that he was giving everybody. And they said, we'll just keep everything on file. If he does anything else, send it to us, and we'll let, you know, Dr. Phil know. And at that point in time, I looked at him and I said, I'm ready to go home. And the girl producer, I forget what her name was. She walks out, okay, because it's really uncomfortable at this point in time. And I go sit in a chair because I'm swallowing just what happened. I literally got set up by Dr. Phil and screwed over. And they let this guy walk scot-free when he's gotten away with crimes. Richard has committed huge crimes. All while having a stalking order against me. That's a very good question. So Benny here is asking, okay, let's back up. We're kind of getting off in different directions. How did all this start? And Benny's asking, did he diss you first? No. Richard did not diss me first. Richard did not threaten me first. Richard did not stalk me first. This all started in around 2000, and I'd say 2009, 2010. Right. And he and I, that's correct. This started around 2009 or 2010, right around there. And what happened was, I'm just going to be really honest. Yes, we met online, not in a UFO community. So this is what Dr. Phil did not want me to talk about on stage. And this is going to be huge for the world out there to know what happens if you mention a UFO. And this is a doctor, this is a psychologist who America turns to for all of our problems, anything. He gives us all the magic pill or the magic remedy that's going to fix it. But in this case, Dr. Phil said, nope, don't talk about it, don't say anything about it, doesn't matter. But the truth is, I came across Richard because he had a YouTube channel on the internet. He had a Facebook, a MySpace, a Blog Talk channel where he had personal home recorded videos where he was claiming that he got abducted by aliens, he got taken to the backside of the moon, and he became a prophet that could read your mind by touching your shoulder. And Benny here is on screen, and he's saying, I actually saw those videos. A lot of people saw these videos. I wasn't the only one. When I came, the only reason why I looked at the video was because it had about 250,000 views. Right, he tried covering his tracks ever since I caught on to him. He's been deleting everything since I caught on to him. So let me go ahead and answer this for the viewers, Benny, and because you've got some great questions here that I know everybody wants to know. I came across Richard because he had these YouTube I was online researching. That's what I was doing. I was researching UFOs. I was researching alien abductions. I was researching government conspiracies. I was trying to understand what it was that I was looking at. And during that process, I came across Richard's videos. Everybody out there who saw them remembers them. They actually showed his face, okay? And the videos were parted, there were 10 parts, part 1 through 10. And these videos had a tremendous amount of views. These weren't 5 or 10,000 views. We're talking 250,000 views each one of these videos had. That's what made me look. I said, what are people looking at here? And when I looked, I saw that there was a man who was sitting in a chair with the screen blurred so you couldn't really tell who he was. and his voice was masked. So he was using a software program to change his voice. The username that he was using under YouTube was Ricky G. Ricky G, UFO abductee. That's exactly correct. That's what he went by. He never told anybody his real name. He never told anybody OG Rodil. He never told anybody that he made music, period. This was a complete, separate, secret identity. Yeah, you saw his archive channel. You saw the stuff that he's removed since I've come out and made my claims against him. But the thing is that's how I came across Richard. I came across Richard because he was online with all these videos telling people that he got abducted by aliens. He got taken to the backside of the moon. He went through some really horrible experiences, including seeing some really horrible stuff. And through this process, he said, downloaded the past, present, and future. They gave him all these amazing abilities, and it was his job. He said it was his job to go out there, to get on the internet, and to tell people about it. They were making him do it. That's what he said. Yes. Now that's Benny here is asking the question, aliens made him a prophet. This is what Richard claims. Richard loves for people to go down the rabbit hole of what, quote unquote, they said. Okay, Richard loves that. If you ever try to hold Richard accountable for anything he said, like, Richard, you claim to be a prophet, Richard will say, no, they said I'm a prophet. Okay, we're talking about someone else. It's not your fault. Someone else's fault. Okay, Richard, you said you could read someone else's mind by touching their shoulder. No. They gave him that ability. Well, Richard, why are you on the internet contacting little boys and girls? No. They made me get on the internet and make these videos and to contact people. It's always going to relate back to they. So I trust me, anybody out there who I will tell you who Richard is systematically. I've studied this guy. I know what he's doing. So Benny asked here, do you feel Richard has mental problems? No. I feel Richard has an ego problem. Yes, I do believe that he's lying about the prophet story. I believe that he's lying about the alien abduction story. And I believe that this stems from an ego problem, like Benny's putting here on screen, an ego problem that he got when he was a young child. And I believe to this day that Richard is a narcissist. He is a covert narcissist. Does he do any psychedelic drugs? Yes. I only know this because he has stated it, that he has tried PCP. And he's explained that what happened when he did PCP. He was with some friends and they started messing with him on a basketball court. Is it a factor? I don't think so. I don't think drugs are a factor here. I don't think, brain trauma is a factor here. I think an ego that Richard cannot control is what's factoring here. I think that Richard got addicted to getting attention because he didn't get enough attention when he was a child. And so he had to build this alter ego when he was a young child that protected himself from the world around him. And so that's why you get him saying things like he can do this, he can do that, because he feels he has to say those things to make him a valid person that would make you interested in him. And now Richard realizes that when you tell lies like that, people aren't interested in you at all. So Benny here is asking, so how long were you two friends for at first? Richard and I were never friends. I came across Richard because he had a YouTube channel making all these claims. I myself, for anybody out there, I myself believe in UFOs. I believe in alien abductions. I believe in that stuff is actually truly happening. And I believe that there are people out there lying about this. Nope, we weren't buddies. I contacted Richard first because he's the one who had the YouTube channel with like millions of views. And I stated, hey, I noticed your channel. Looks like you're, doing some good stuff here. Good for you. Pretty much is all that was said. Okay. And this is before I was able to go deep into his videos and see the specific prophetic claims that he was making. And so that's what that was. Later, once I actually came across the claims of him being able to read minds, he claimed that he could predict volcanoes and earthquakes. He claimed that he was going to cure AIDS and cancer because aliens told him he was going to cure AIDS and cancer. Remember how we always go back to they were the ones who said this? Okay. So when I came across that material, I then realized that Richard was a con artist. He was lying, because I know for a fact you can get abducted by a UFO and it doesn't give you the ability to read anybody's mind. I know that one for a fact. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I know that one personally, in my own eyes, in my own blood, my sweat, the cells in my skin. I know that to be true. You can be abducted by UFOs your entire life, and you'll never have this superhuman ability. If anything, it's probably going to make you want to commit suicide. So that's why he started attacking you. What happened was, I saw the footage that he was making. There was another guy on the internet who was making some crazy claims out there after being abducted by aliens, allegedly. His name was Alien Photog. Okay? This guy was really good at covering his tracks, a lot better than Richard. I confronted Alien Photog and I confronted Richard in a video I made online. It was about 80 minutes long, where I came out to the public and I told everybody about my own self-alleged UFO abduction experience. And at the end, yeah, just so everybody out there knows, Dr. Phil knows this. I told the producers this. I was not afraid to talk about this. Dr. Phil and his producers were the ones who said, Leonard, you don't have to talk about that. Let's not talk about that. But at the end of the day, I confronted Richard with these claims that he was making in a video. At the end of my own video, I said, hey, for those guys like Alien Photog and Richard out there, you need to be real about this. You need to, number one, show your face. Don't hide behind some window. Don't, hide behind some screen. Show your face and be honest and don't lie. And that is when I started to get stalked by Richard. It was at that point in time. Everybody out there needs to know. I didn't know he made music. I wasn't aware that he made music. I didn't know his real name. I didn't know he had kids. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know anything about him other than he was lying, making up lies. And then at the end of these lies, for some reason, he's calling little boys and girls out there saying he can do things to them if he meets them behind closed doors. So Benny asks, Rick claims the beef started when you shared intimate things to him and he stopped replying. Exactly. Everybody saw that on Dr. Phil. Richard said that I came across his music, that I liked his music, and that I then shared some intimate things with him. That was a lie. And Dr. Phil and his producers knew that was a lie. But Richard's whole thing was, Richard went to Dr. Phil and the producers and said, he's not going to go on stage if they mention anything about UFOs. And Dr. Phil said, perfect. Because Dr. Phil at the end of the day wanted to shut me up, to silence me, so that he could back out of getting in a potential very serious lawsuit. So it worked for both of them. Do you see how this is starting to play out? I have no idea. So Benny is asking, what is his stage name, OG Raw Deal? What does his stage name, OG Raw Deal, mean? And, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. When you look at Richard's altered personality of being the Sacramento thug, black jeans, overgrown long white t-shirt, shades on, hair combed back next to the lowrider Impala, this image, this very stereotypical image, why he's trying to project that when he's not that, why he feels he needs to be that when he's not that clearly. It stems back to his ego and the whole OG Raw deal. There's nothing OG about Richard. There's nothing raw about Richard. There's no intimate, crazy, awesome, amazing, unique thing about Richard. Richard is he is a thief. He's a con artist, and he cannot be trusted with children, period. He is a child predator. And that's what's important about my story, is that not only do you learn Richard as a child predator, but you learn that Dr. Phil is a predator as well. So Benny here is asking, does he have a ghost writer? No. All of Richard's material that he ever came out with ever since September of 2007, when he started making all these claims of going to the moon and all this stuff, was all self-fabricated by Richard. Yeah, Richard was the first person and the only person to ever interfere in my real life. Right. Benny here is typing, trying to get you fired with false allegations. And as Richard stated on the show, he didn't try to get me fired. He did get me fired. But the fact of the matter was, those were false allegations that he made against me, saying that I used the computers at work to stalk him. My manager came to me. He told me what Richard claimed. They watched me for 2 weeks on the computer. I was one of their best sales reps. I was making over $17 an hour commission, cold calling people on the phone because I'm good at what I fucking do. And, you know, at the end of the day, my manager told me, look, I can't let this spill out onto the sales floor. So you need to take care of this. Okay, he said this, I stand behind my employees, but at the same time, I can't let this spill out onto the sales floor. So the very next day, I went to the courthouse, filed a stalking order. The judge looked at the evidence that I had and was like, no, you need to get Richard here in this courtroom, no matter what it takes, no matter how many times the sheriffs have to go look for him. You need to get him here in this courtroom. When I walked out of the court office and I called my employer, they said, come pick up your final check. And then Richard went to the Dr. Phil network and said, I got fired because I used computers, blah, 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 that my employer then filed a restraining order against me. It was all a lie. Yeah, so now Benny's asking here, I learned that he is contacting every job you were trying to get. Now, that is correct. Even after the taping of the Dr. Phil show and then the airing of the Dr. Phil show, Richard has since tried stalking me at my employers. He'll send them emails stating that I've got a warrant for my arrest, which we all saw on Dr. Phil. He admitted to Dr. Phil that he lied about me having some warrant for my arrest. He's still doing that to this day. We're in 2018. Richard is still emailing my employer saying he's got a warrant for my arrest. They need to give him my address. He's still doing that to this day. That's what is very important for anybody out there to know. Dr. Phil is aware that he's still doing this. You know, it's criminal what he's doing. And I also want to say this. Richard has always used his daughter. If anybody out there goes and has children, you have a little baby girl, Richard went and had a little baby girl. He raised her, and then he used her as a shield. When it came down to Richard having to answer to the millions of people around the world why he was calling little children claiming to be a prophet, he then went and put his daughter in front of him and said, oh, someone's threatening to rape my daughter. Pay attention to this and don't ask the real hard questions. And I think that's the most despicable father you could ever meet or see in your life. And I just want to get that out there. I want the public to know that Richard used his daughter as a fucking shield. And that's disgusting. So looking down here on the screen, Benny's asking, I actually asked Rick if Lenard will stop talking about him. Will he stop trying to get you fired? And he refused. So what Benny's saying here is Benny actually asked Richard if he would stop contacting my employers, if he was going to stop trying to get me fired. And Richard even told Benny here, no, he's not going to stop. And that's why Dr. Phil dropped the ball. You know, Dr. Phil not only put my life in danger, but then by not addressing the real problem, by not showing people the truth, by not confronting Richard and what he's really done here, he gave Richard the green light, so to speak, the green card, so to speak, to go ahead and do it again. Dr. Phil rewarded Richard's bad behavior, his criminal behavior. And I'm the one who's paying for it. And that is one big reason why I am going to sue Dr. Phil this year. The whole thing, what Dr. Phil did from day one was wrong. And instead of covering it up, Dr. Phil should have done the right thing. And he should have told the truth, not hide it. So Benny here is asking, how did you find out what he is impersonating you online, trying to discredit you, ruining your reputation? Okay, so from day one, ever since Richard started to stalk me after I called him out, he would go and make a YouTube channel. Listen to this, 100% identical to mine. So he'd go up to the heading, he'd get the same logo, the same profile picture. He'd go down to the videos, he'd download all the videos I had, he'd put them in the exact same order. He'd make the channel look 100% identical to mine. And then he'd go to my videos to where people were leaving comments and he'd sexually harass them. He'd say the most vulgar, disgusting things that, you know, this guy should not be around children. I know that because what he says is fucked up. And he says it mainly to girls online. But that was just one thing. He'd go to Facebook, he make an account in my name, and then he, you know, and I showed the Dr. Phil show this in the stalking orders that I filed. I show evidence of this. Richard making Facebook profiles, using my pictures, making the profiles look just like mine, where he'll go to like your likes and your interests. He'll go select the same items in the same order. He spends that much meticulous time to make a profile look 100% genuine to yours, so that he can fool people into thinking he is actually you. So that when he says, hey baby, I think your pussy looks hot, I want to fuck that tonight, he wants to be able to make someone think I'm actually sending him that message. That's what Richard does, and that's what's important for people out there to know, is that he does that type of sexual predator shit to people while pretending to be you. Trolling. Yeah, exactly. He was trolling. He was having a fantastic, fabulous, wonderful time until we got on stage. So Benny's asking some questions here, and he says Rick brags in his music videos about doing cocaine. You know, I've heard him. I've seen some comments on YouTube where some people will be like, "Man, I just want to do an 8-ball with you," and you know, I don't really know. And Benny here is stating he heard it himself. So yeah, I mean, when you look at everything that Richard has claimed, his behavior, obviously he better be doing some cocaine. He better be doing some meth, because that's not normal stuff to be doing just with your normal brain. Yeah. I saw that. So he did make a music video called Bust It, where he threatens, you know, he calls me a snitch for snitching on him for being a child predator. And then he says, you know, he's going to bust some lead off, cut my stalker's head off, and throw me in some trunk. You know, yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Benny's saying, do you fear he has guns and might do something if he snaps? You know what? The thing is I've been stalked by this guy so many years, to the point where, you know, I'm going to be very honest with the viewers out there. You know, it got to the point where, you know, I'm going to school. He's posting articles at my Lane Community College Facebook website saying I've got a rape charge on my background. I've been to prison. He's posting videos about my children saying they're being molested. Then he goes on Dr. Phil and says he didn't do it. Then he gets off of Dr. Phil's show, and then he continues to post videos about my children being molested to this day. You know, he makes comments saying, you know, my sister getting raped by my father was finger licking good. You know, he posts Craigslist ads soliciting me for sex. He takes pictures of my child's bedroom window, then goes on Dr. Phil and says, oh, no, he never did that. The things that he's done, you can't scare me. You can't intimidate me. Richard knows this. Richard knows that if there's anybody that's going to show up at the other person's house midnight, ready to go, it's going to be me. Richard knows that I'll record that shit live. Richard knows that you know, you can't fuck with someone like that. You can't go and stalk somebody, and then once they find out who you really are, you go and file a stalking order, hoping that it doesn't give me the ability of contacting his brother, his sister, his wife, and telling him, hey, your husband's online talking to kids about his dick and his semen. What do you think? You know, he's gone. This is personal. This is way personal. This is past personal. You know, you can't do that to somebody and expect them to just walk the earth and just to forget about it. You know, people blow each other's heads off for shit 100% less. So the world needs to recognize what's happened here. And Richard knows what's happened here. Richard knows, you know, there's no intimidating me. There's a reason why Richard went on stage. There's a reason why Richard's afraid. He knows if there's anybody that's going to snap, it isn't going to be him. It isn't going to be me. I won't snap. I'll methodically think it out, and I'll plan it, and I'll make my move. And he knows that. There's no snapping here. It's all planned. Just like he planned his shit, I get to plan mine. So Benny here is asking, and you guys will see, this guy stepped over the line. You know, Obama said you drew a red line. No, Rick stepped over a very serious line. Benny here is asking, do you think Richard fears coming on? So what, coming on to the radio, going on to Dr. Phil? What do you mean? Yeah, absolutely. Richard, for the longest time, Richard has begged me to call him after the Dr. Phil show aired. He emailed me about 50 times. The police department had to call him to tell him to stop. Okay? He's desperate. He knows that I'm the only person out there that has the evidence that can not only lock this guy in prison, but expose him to a community that would probably take him off the streets. He's in Sacramento. They don't fuck around out there. So he knows what he's in. There's a reason why he's desperate. I've learned that from him. I've seen who he really is. And yeah, Richard's not going to come on air anymore. He knows that there's no winning for Richard there. Does Richard know my address? No, but it's fine if he does to this day, because I'm surrounded. What I did was, after the Dr. Phil show aired, I didn't know that many people watched Dr. Phil. I didn't know. There wasn't one place I could go where people were like, hey, you're that guy that was on Dr. Phil. Whoa. I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. I wish I was making this up. When it aired, I didn't think they would air what happened. I really didn't. But when it aired, going out in town, and everybody, the gym, the store, it didn't matter. Everybody recognized me, and it was hard. And I wasn't getting treated bad. I mean, it was just hard to have my whole life out there in front view instantly like that. No. Benny here is saying, I don't think Rick has the guts to join. What is he going to gain from it? Richard knows that I'm here to put him away, dude. Yeah, Richard knows I'm here to put him away. I'm not here to say he said, she said. This motherfucker lied. I've got the evidence that shows it. He needs to get his ass off the streets. He needs to take his little 6-shooter, put it up to his temple, and pull the trigger. So Benny here is asking, you took him to court 5 times and came in 2 times. So the truth is, I took to Richard to court the first time, didn't appear with any computing device, no computer, nothing, and my case got dismissed. Took him to court the second time because the stalking did not stop. He continued to stalk me. We got the same judge. Richard was 100% different than he was the first time. He was quiet. He was silent. I would say things like, Judge, you remember, this is the guy that's calling little boys and girls, claiming he's a prophet. Richard wouldn't say nothing. Dead silence. Richard admitted to making perverted videos of my child's penis in that trial, in that courtroom. Dr. Phil has that evidence. Those stalking orders that Dr. Phil put on stage, that evidence is right in there, motherfucker. So Dr. Phil stepped over a huge line here. He went and took evidence that showed Richard actually did make perverted acts towards my children. And he did not tell the American people. He did not disclose it. It was like he took my stalking order and silenced half of it. Dr. Phil played judge, jury, and that was it. Was Richard portrayed as the good guy on the show? I think everybody here can all come to the conclusion that yes, Dr. Phil and his producers portrayed Richard as the good guy. But as we could see, that didn't turn out to be the case at all whatsoever. Even with the footage that they wouldn't play for me, you can clearly see that Richard could not answer why he's calling little boys and girls claiming to be a prophet. Even to this day, Richard went on Dr. Phil in front of the American people, in front of his wife, in front of his son, his daughter, his brother, his sisters, his co-workers, and he could not answer the most critical question that everybody still to this day demands to know. These aren't, and you'll notice, ever since the taping of the show, Richard says, oh, well, if we're going to talk about UFOs, I'm not going to do it. Because Richard knows that that was his whole ploy. Lie about a UFO experience, get children on the phone, lie to them, groom them, like I have. I have phone calls of Richard grooming children on the phone. Clearly, he's grooming them. get them to trust him, gain their trust, trick them into meeting him, and then he gets to decide what happens. And this is bullshit. Richard needs to get his ass kicked. So Benny's asking here, Rick uses a lot of strangers' kids in his music videos. How does he convince them to be in? I don't know. I think that, I think that when you look at that altered personality of Richard, he's doing it for attention. People need to understand that. He's making these videos so that people will look at him. They'll watch him. He'll be able to brag about himself. It goes back to that narcissistic personality disorder where they have to get a narcissistic supply. And at first, for a certain amount of years, his music videos that got about 250 views after 6 years, it didn't feed his narcissistic supply. And so that's when in 2007 in September, he made the YouTube channel claiming all these bogus claims, and he got addicted to that new source of narcissistic supply, and it created a monster. But why he uses other strangers' kids in his music videos, it's all an act. A sad, ugly act. There's a lot. So, you guys are going to hear me say things. There's a lot that you haven't been shown. There's a lot that hasn't been seen. And there's a lot that I actually do, in fact, have. And Richard knows it. Richard wouldn't be threatening to have me thrown in prison and raped if I didn't have this evidence. You see, you got to read between the lines. There's a reason why he's making those threats. And it's because at the end of the day, he knows what's waiting for him. I know what's waiting for him. And that's the beauty of this. All you have to do is look. All right, so Benny here is asking, did the show producers ask you back? No. As a matter of fact, the show producers have not talked to me at all. Ever since the show aired, it was kind of like this, boom, check the dial tone and see what Lenard is going to say. And after the show aired, I kind of went into a depression. I suffered 3 severe injuries. And so going through a physical injury is hard, especially when you're physically active like myself. That can be depressing. And then on top of that, appearing on stage on Dr. Phil and set up to be made, like this crazy guy who's just stalking this musician for no reason. It was just hard to take in. So it took me a while to bounce back. But no, they haven't asked me to go back on the show. I've since I have forwarded every single email that Richard has sent me since the show. I've let them know that Richard's still stalking me. They've said nothing. They can't say nothing. They can't. They fucked my life over. They made it worse by putting me on stage. They lied on stage. They lied about some very serious things. Dr. Phil is a mandated reporter. And Dr. Phil could see that I had evidence of this guy calling little kids, saying he could read their minds by touching their shoulder. A mandated reporter has to report that. You don't have to do it in front of the American people, but you got to report it. And he didn't. And that conflicts with his whole title, his whole job description, his whole claims of being a mandated reporter. So Benny here is saying, so you're preparing to sue the show? Yes, I am. As you know, Benny, my foot has just recently gotten better. So I'm actually walking around now. Before I wasn't, yeah. I think I had a hairline fracture in my right foot. I don't know for sure. I never went to the doctors to check it out. I never got billed for it, thank God. But it is a lot better. My rib is better. My lower back is better. And I'm working. So one small step at a time. But there are plenty of lawyers out there that'll do this case pro bono. Anybody out there who knows, the last lawsuit Dr. Phil got in regarding his show was for $100 million. I don't think the guy won it, but I'm fully aware of what Dr. Phil has done wrong here. And I know that Dr. Phil is going to settle. He's not going to want this to get out to the public at all whatsoever. He can't. He did some very fucked up things here to me, and he let Richard get away with some fucked up things. And at the end of the day, that, it's too much for Dr. Phil to take on his name. Dr. Phil would much rather just silence me, one way or another. He tried silencing me, as you guys can see. He tried silencing me on his show. It didn't work. So Benny here is asking, did Rick encourage people to call your house? Yes. Yes, Richard at the time, he had a couple of goons that believed he was a prophet, believed that oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about what Richard claimed. So Richard's big claim, this is what made Richard Ricky G, the UFO abductee, right? He went and made this lie in 2007 saying he went to the moon, he became a prophet, and the aliens told him we are going to get invaded by spaceships in 2015. Now, this is back in 2007. So he's got like 8 years to play here to build up suspense, to build up drama with it, right? Well, you remember 2012, and I started getting stalked in like 2009, 2010. So I watched him put on this whole act while he was still stalking me. It was unreal. He would sexually harass me, sexually harass my children's mother, post most vicious, nasty, disgusting stuff of my children. And then 5 hours later, he's in some online interview telling somebody that he's a prophet, that the planet's this, the planet's that, we need to do this, we're going to get invaded by spaceships in 2015. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Seriously. And then you sit there seeing him call little kids, like, no, this ain't happening. Not on my fucking time. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. For anybody out there, that's exactly what's happening right now. All this has to do with is Richard wanting to fuck kids, dude. That's it. That's all this has to do. And he's pissed. Richard is fucking pissed that I caught him. And not only that I caught him, but I'm trying to show every fucking body. Because when you walk down the street, if somebody says, yeah, that guy right there, he fucking calls little kids saying this and that. You know he's a little predator. You know exactly how they get treated. And that's what Richard's trying to escape. Richard's trying to escape his behavior. He's trying to escape what people are really going to think about him. And he's doing that by making up these lies that no, Lenard came across him by, his music, he got weird, he threatened to rape his daughter, he threatened to kidnap his son, his children are in fear for their lives. He puts on this big act. Fuck yeah, I've got Richard blocked. I've got Richard blocked in every context that I can have him blocked because I have to have him blocked. He will email me 100 times in 2 weeks if the police don't step in. Okay? So, he'll send me one moment he's sending me images or sending me emails saying, oh, I know you're thinking of me jizzing in your mouth and this and that. Motherfucker, there's a reason why I want to blow his head off. So let's just get real serious here. I've got him blocked. Well, we're going down a path where you can't fake it. You can't fake it. We're past that line. So it's not like Richard can just come up on here and, oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? Let's all try to work this out. No, you know what? Go fucking turn yourself in. Fuck yeah, I'll confront his stupid. Yeah, dude, I've got this. So for the audience out there, this is going to be actually a treat for everybody. Benny is actually trying to contact Richard right now. As you guys can see, this is live. Benny did not have this planned. I did not fucking have this planned because had Benny mentioned this to me, I think Benny knows I would have said no. So Benny kind of put me on the spot, but that's fine because Benny's my friend. Benny's actually a good friend of mine. I trust him. And I think the audience needs to hear this. Okay, but Richard is on. Because he doesn't need to hear me. And I don't need to hear him. But I think that the public needs to hear Richard's very tricky response that he gives to his perverted behavior with kids. So it's echoing, he says. Okay, so Benny's going to try to set this up for the audience that's out there. For what you've heard so far, as you can see, this is a very complicated, heated exchange, but just story that's been told to you so far, and it's just a glimpse. It's just a glimpse of what's really truly happened here. But my goal is to show the audience, not the American people, the people of the world. There are people out there that are going to lie to you even after they get caught in the lie. Okay? And these same people came to you and made you promises that were not true. And at the end of the day, just because I go and show you that Richard is a liar doesn't mean that UFOs are not real. I get that a lot. I get a lot of UFO believers out there that take this personal. Because if you feel that if Richard gets taken down, that it takes down the legitimacy in UFOs or alien abduction, and it doesn't. What it does is it adds legitimacy that you guys are willing to take a look at the evidence or a look at someone's claim. And if they're lying, you're willing to hold them accountable. So Benny here is asking, is Richard part of the Illuminati? No. Richard is a part of Richard, and that's it. No. So Benny here is asking, is Richard trying to be in the Illuminati? And I would affirmatively say no. You can tell just by looking at what he's doing, how he's behaving, what he's worshiping. He's worshiping himself. And in the Illuminati, they actually worship Lucifer, the light bearer. And so, no, Richard worships Richard. Richard thinks that Richard is God. Richard thinks that he can get away with whatever he wants because he's God. Richard has even made claims that he met God. Richard has made claims that, oh my God, the claims that they're all lies. Anybody can make up a lie. It takes a real sorry, depressed person, though, to go out on stage and tell that lie to millions of people. Yeah, get that sorry, lowlife excuse for a father in here, because he has a lot of answering to do. A lot of answering to do. To the UFO community out there, you gotta hold. These guys are going to come around. They're con artists, and it's like they take spray paint and deface all the hard work that people like John Mack, David M. Jacobs, Bud Hopkins, Dr. Carla Turner, so many researchers out there that put their lives on the line to get the truth to the people. And then you got someone with a mental disorder like Richard coming along with a spray paint and masking it with lies just so that he can get attention.
Am I in or what's going on?
Are you in? What's going on? So, ladies and gentlemen, what you're listening to is the same voice. This is Richard. This is the guy that's been calling your kids since September of 2007 and claiming that he can read their mind by touching their shoulder or giving them a hug. And yet, and Benny has heard this footage. Benny knows this is true. Benny knows that Richard went on Dr. Phil and lied to his wife, to his son, to his daughter, to his coworkers, to all of his family members. He lied and told them no, he never made those claims of talking to little boys and girls about his dick and his semen. He never did that. But the truth and the fact of the matter is he did. The real question is, why does Richard continue to lie in front of everybody when we all see these video files on the internet where Richard's making these claims he can read your mind by touching your shoulder?
Will he let me respond?
Yeah, so what Benny is typing here is saying, Rick, can you hear Leonard? Which Richard can hear me loud and clear. And then Benny's asking, Richard, will you respond? Because you went on Dr. Phil. Leonard presented these facts.
He didn't say all that
you,
shit.
And you lied. Your ass off.
Say, will I
You lied your ass off.
respond? He didn't say all that shit. You lying.
You can't respond. What are you going to respond with?
Can
You
I
gonna say
respond
that?
if you
I've
shut
got-
your mouth?
You shut the fuck up, motherfucker. You ain't telling nobody to shut their mouth. You ain't saying
Because you
shit, bitch.
shut your mouth. Just shut up. I'm on here to answer
You
a
shut
question.
the fuck up, motherfucker. You ain't telling nobody to shut the fuck up. You are a piece of shit that goes to little boys and girls saying, I can read your mind by touching your shoulder. Let me just give you a little hug.
I'm calling you a
faggot.
liar because you
shut
have
the
no
fuck
proof.
up.
And then you're going to get
liar.
mad
Everybody
like a little ass
footage.
kid.
Just
Watch.
like you went on that, just like
You're
you went on
liar.
the fucking internet and said, oh, we're all going to get invaded by spaceships in 2015 because I'm a prophet. You're a low-life piece of shit liar. You got a narcissistic personality disorder, and you need to grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. You can't respond. You're not capable of responding, Richard Granule.
Okay, Benny.
How can you
Benny,
respond
you see
to
what
the
I'm
10,
dealing
15
with,
years
correct?
that you've done? Don't try to say
Thank you.
correct.
You
You're
see what
not
I'm
correct in
dealing
your own
with,
fucking mind, you dumb piece of
Benny.
shit.
I'm just trying to answer a question.
You want to threaten my fucking kids
Please.
and then get on Dr. Phil and say, oh, I never did that. You fucking pussy. Be a fucking man. Own up to your shit.
I'm a man right here, and you ain't saying
a con artist.
but nothing but yelling. You're a little ass kid, dude. Talk to me.
You're a little ass kid. You're the fuck you and talking. You want to talk to little boys and girls about your dick and your semen. Fuck you, faggot. You want to talk to little boys and say, oh, you can read their minds by touching their shoulder. You want to say, oh, you're a prophet and that we're getting invaded by spaceships in 2015. You want to say that you can predict earthquakes and volcanoes. You want to say that, oh, aliens.
I want to say you were fucked by an alien with a tail. Do you want to hear that one? I got that right here. Do you want?
No, you don't have that one right there. Richard has went, just like we went on Dr. Phil, and Richard said, I never made a video of his children. That was a lie. Benny has even seen videos of Richard making perverted videos of my children. There's a phone call where Richard says, if you go on that Dr. Phil show, if you mention my name, I swear to God. And it's because Richard knew in his mind that there was a potential possibility that people were going to see Richard is a liar. He's a con artist. He can't afford it. He's put his music
I can explain that right now.
He can't afford it. No, you can't explain shit. You went on Dr.
Because you don't want to hear shit.
Nope. You are a liar. You're a cheater. You're a con artist. And you sit there and you.
How can I lie when you don't let me say anything?
The American people. How can I trick mothers and fathers so that you can get closer and closer to their kids? That's all you've done since September of 2007. You low-life, lying, child-praying piece of shit.
Well, I would think a low-life child would have a restraining order from kids. And you had a restraining order against Nikki's kids, correct? And went to jail for that. Now, you didn't get that restraining order because you hug them too much. Why did you get that restraining order? Or what? You don't have an answer for that.
So Benny's here typing on the screen, but Rick,
you have an answer for that.
Benny knows that Richard
let's move on
to cover up the lie. So, ladies and gentlemen, look it.
Exactly. You don't have an answer why Nikki had a restraining order against you.
You notice now how he's not.
No, you don't.
About it. Richard will not talk about him talking to kids.
Exactly. You ain't got shit on me.
Haha, gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. Go ahead now, Richard, because I'm going to slice and dice this video. I'm going to show everybody you do call little boys and girls.
That doesn't matter because I already got you on here saying you're going to kill me twice already.
Hey, we're talking about Richard Granule calling little boys and girls, claiming he can read their minds by touching their shoulder.
And then people are going to say, show me the proof, and they're going to say, fuck you, go find your own proof.
Nobody's got to show you shit, bitch, because we've shown it to the world. I showed it to your wife. And that's why she emailed me and said,
yeah, she said you're full of shit. You showed it to Dr. Phil. She said you're full of shit.
She emailed me and said her family fell apart. Do you know why they fell apart, Richard? Because you continue.
My family don't fell apart. I got everybody under my roof. I have a roof. What about you?
Right.
And you're mad at me for that.
Where are their hearts? Where are their hearts, buddy? Where are,
talking about? They're right here under my roof with me.
Your children saw you go on Dr. Phil and you got
My children got nothing to do with this, boy.
You got accused of being a child molester. And when you sat there
By
and
a
said,
fucking idiot.
Well, you put your fucking head down. You couldn't answer as to why you're calling little boys and girls.
I'll answer it right now. I'll answer it right now. Ask me that question.
No. You want to throw little distractions to the American people so that they don't know you've got an addiction to talking to kids.
American people, I'm talking to you.
No, you ain't talking to nobody, you low life piece of shit.
Exactly, because your ass don't listen because you're mentally ill.
On Dr. Phil. You're trying to act like you're fucking tough. You ain't tough. You ain't ever been to jail. You a studio gangster motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. Why are you calling little boys and girls talking about your dick, bitch?
Man, that's all you talk about.
Boys and girls. Why you
all day long, dude? You ain't showing nothing. Channel got shut down because you're a fucking bully.
That's all you talked about for 10 years. That's all your stupid ass talked about for 10 years with kids until
I didn't fall flag shit. I didn't fall flag shit. People flagged his shit because after the Dr. Phil show, they saw him using the word nigger, faggot, and all that shit, so they took it down. Especially after all these
schools. You like to call people faggots.
It got flagged and it got put down. And those are the videos he said he'd never take it down. They're down, Lenny.
Their minds by touching their shoulder. Why are you calling?
Who gives a fuck? Your channel's down. I could read your mind, and you're a fucking scared ass nobody who wishes you were me.
Right.
You want everything I have. And you're mad.
Hold on. No. This is great. So what Richard is saying is that I want to be Richard. Because Richard is a narcissist.
You love everything about me. You fucking
just like you said in 2015, you're going to be more important than the president. Go and explain that, Richard. What did you mean?
You still on my dick.
Come on, buddy. There you go, talking about your dick again. You wish. Now, come on.
Yeah, to you.
Why are you calling little boys and girls
get off
claiming that you can? Why are you calling little boys and
girls? I can talk to kids. Fuck you. Talk about what's going on right now between me.
Why are you calling little boys and girls talking about?
I've never called no little boy. What little boy and little girl has a phone, you idiot?
Hey, Benny.
And what little boy and little girl's mama's letting them talk to people, idiot?
Hey, Benny, did you hear the phone call where he talks to Paige and Dorinda, 13?
The girl in the music video was a fucking porn star. You got to be over 18 to be a fucking porn star.
Hey, Benny, did you hear the phone call where Richard is talking to Paige and Dorinda? Yes or no?
Who are alive and well. You said I murdered.
Okay, now Richard let's back up. Richard just said
I murdered them, didn't
spoke to kids. Now, Richard,
I murdered these two kids,
to a couple of girls who were 13 years old. That's correct. So now we're getting the truth out of Richard one small bit at a time, which is exactly what I'm going to do all fucking day long with you, bitch. So now you've admitted that you called a girl named Paige and you called a girl named Dorinda, which you say they are alive because you're still talking to them.
Yeah, they're alive.
Correct?
Yeah, they're alive.
Exactly.
And they were over 18 when I talked to them. And they got children now.
They're 13.
Doing very well.
They were 13, motherfucker.
I never met them. I never touched them, and I did not murder them. Now let's get you saying I murdered these.
Nice try, motherfucker. Nice try, motherfucker. They weren't 18, they were 13, bitch. We can play the phone call right now, motherfucker.
You're
they were 13.
So you're saying shit right now. You got absolutely no proof of.
You've got to lie. You've got to lie.
100% no proof.
So now we know that they're 13. And you're trying to say that
no, because you said that. Now we know that you're lying.
Now, going
with
forward,
absolutely no proof.
Why did you tell those girls that, hey, Richard, grow up? Why did you tell those girls you went to the moon? We all know that's a lie. Why are you lying, bud? Why are you calling little girls with lies? Why are you calling little girls with lies, buddy?
Huh? You
can't understand me now. You can't hear me now.
I'm me murdering two girls. Now we're talking about the moon.
Come on, buddy.
See,
come on.
I would think murdering two females would be the top of the top.
Conversation.
But no, you don't want to talk about what you're claiming. I murdered somebody.
Okay,
let's absolutely want to say.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Do you?
You want me
Watch, you're gonna go right to some moon shit, some 13-year-old dumb shit. But you said I murdered.
Richard knows what's coming, baby. So you claim you went to the moon and you became a prophet. We all know that. You can't see it. You can't see no. We know it's true. But you claim that you walked into a room and you saw a little girl getting molested. And you said.
And you claim that I murdered two girls.
What happened to that little girl? Because we know that didn't happen on the moon. That probably happened in your backyard.
See, he's saying probably. So now he's starting making up shit again. Probably happened in my backyard. He said a coworker was there.
Where did it happen then? Where did it happen then, Richard? Did it happen in your brain, in your imagination?
Okay.
That up?
When did what happen, Leonard?
You know exactly what we're still talking about. That 13-year-old girl you said we're still talking about that little girl you said you watched get molested when you took off your clothes. That's what we're talking about. Now get to talking, motherfucker. No. Richard's not going to talk about.
I'm like a little kid when you do that. You're literally a child-minded.
And then him becoming a prophet.
Yeah, who does that? That's fucking odd as fuck.
Who calls little boys and girls saying they can read their minds by touching their shoulder?
I've never called a little boy
weirdo.
or a little girl.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And I've just proved it. Just like you've claimed that you were a prophet.
You just proved it by moving your mouth and lying.
Get invaded by spaceships in 2015.
You have nothing.
You're a liar, Richard.
Focusing on
You're
nothing.
a low-life piece of shit liar. And you know what's the saddest thing of all is instead of being a man and just saying, yeah, you're a child predator, you're a liar, you're a low-life, you couldn't muck up anything in fucking life. That's why you're washing dishes right now. Sorry, you couldn't do that. Instead, what you had to do is, oh, here's my daughter. This guy's threatening to rape her. Everybody be afraid. You're such a low-life piece of shit. You went and threw your daughter under the bus. You even
said on the show, you and Alien
have your way with my daughter.
Unfunny manner. You remember you said that?
No wonder your daughter turned gay. No wonder
your daughter. You remember you said that?
You as a role model as a father. Did Rick? I'll answer that for you, Benny, because Rick is not capable of answering and being honest. He's not an honest person. Did Rick ever diss my kids? What Rick did under oath, he admitted this. As God is my witness, Richard doesn't work in the text of God. He thinks he's God. But under oath,
you worship me like God. Dumb fuck.
Of my child's penis. Richard admitted to making perverted videos of my child's penis in court. He admitted it to the judge. The judge saw the messages that he sent from his Facebook.
And then they threw it out because
so Richard wants to sit here.
No proof of nothing. You got thrown out 4 times, dumb fuck.
Motherfucker's lucky.
You remember that? If he found me guilty of that, it wouldn't have been thrown out. It was thrown out 4 times, and you said that on the show.
All you can do is threaten people's kids, and when they call you out, you threaten their kids. And
then you ain't got nothing to say about that, do you?
And you cry like a bitch. You go to the police and you file a stop because you threaten someone's kid. You're a low-life piece of shit. Why do you cry when the world was getting invaded by 2015?
Remember when you cried in court when you said it got thrown out and you said, I don't cry. You remember that?
You call little boys saying you can read their minds by touching their
Here we go. Every time I throw something out, you got to go back and you don't.
I'll tell you why, Richard.
Hey, Benny, you still there?
You're a pedophile.
Are you still there?
You are a pedophile.
Okay, that's what you say, and that was proven wrong in 4 times.
That's not what you said with your own behavior over 2 years. You had an opportunity to go on Dr. Phil and to be honest, and instead you chose to lie.
I did.
And you chose to scare your daughter. That's what you chose to do. And your wife lied for it too.
My daughter,
now she hates her fucking life.
You mentioned my kids so many times just on this Benny interview.
No, motherfucker. You made perverted videos of my child's penis and you want to talk about kids? Fuck you.
Tell me something. If you have a video of me making of your sons, whatever, tell the fucking world.
The kids claiming that you can read their mind by touching their shoulder.
Because it doesn't
What kind of broken soul are you? Who fucked you up so bad in your life as a child that you had to come out and lie to every fucking body about what you can't do in life?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. Now we're really starting to get to the nitty gritty. Now all of a sudden you don't understand English. Do you see?
So you acting like a child again because I didn't know what the fuck you're talking about. Means I don't speak English.
Before
that's
Richard
fucking
wanted you all to believe that he was a prophet. Do you remember that? He put that act on. He had all those videos on the internet. He's a prophet.
You're going to a whole other subject. So we're going to throw away that whole
This is the same subject, buddy. You can't change the subject, Richard. There is no subject. There's one subject.
Yes, Benny. Yes. Yes.
You're a pedophile, Richard. You need to get help.
You have a restraining order from children. And it would never apologize.
So everybody out there now, listen to Richard. He's fallen apart. I've called him out. This video is getting spliced.
I'm falling apart. I'm not the one screaming. I'm not the one acting like a child. I'm sitting here calm, conversating.
He's going to ramble.
No,
you tried
falling apart is when
why are you calling little boys and girls talking about your dick and your semen?
Of course, you always say that, but you got no proof, so I don't even give a fuck.
See, now Richard's going to back off and say, no, he's not going to talk about that because he's a pedophile, right? So why are you telling little kids that you can
say that? Why ain't I in jail? Why have I never been in jail?
Richard.
Why can't you find a mugshot about me? You think they just ain't
they
just don't give a shit about that stuff?
Why isn't R. Kelly in jail? Perfect, Betty. We got R. Kelly.
See how you laugh and act like a little kid? That proves
Richard
you have
Granule,
nothing serious about.
Richard Granule
You're
isn't in
acting
jail
like a
because
little
he hasn't
kid
been caught
about
yet.
something that has nothing to do with me and you. And Benny's just instigating and throwing shit on your little dumb fire that you get excited about.
Dumb fire,
Don't
Richard?
think
Is that
about
what
R.
you just said,
Kelly.
dumb
You
fire?
scream like a little girl.
Is it a dumb fire? Richard, Benny is trying to
Well,
ask fair questions.
I don't know
And you
Tekashi,
cannot
and
get
I don't know
upset
R.
just
Kelly. So
because
why would you
he's
ask
not
me?
asking
Why
you
isn't
questions about
why
you're
isn't Leonard's
laughing.
dad still in prison? He knows his dad. I don't know those guys.
Well, why are
Because I'm in the
but the
music and
discussion
you
isn't
think I know
about the
everybody?
discussion isn't about Benny's dad. The discussion isn't even about your dad that you said destroyed your own life. We're not talking about people's dads.
It's about R. Kelly.
What we're talking about is Richard's behavior with little boys and girls.
No. You just said about R. Kelly.
Well, what's wrong? Are you trying to
I brought
change
up
the
your
subject?
dad. Now it don't
Well,
matter.
yeah, you're like R. Kelly, buddy. You're a pedophile. Yeah, you're like
You're
R.
like
Kelly.
your
You're a pedophile.
father.
What? So what?
So what exactly?
So Richard,
you don't care.
Richard,
Your father was a
Richard,
child
are you
rapist.
ready?
Like,
Are you
so
ready?
what?
Are you
You
ready
don't
to
care.
show
You
the
just
people
like
that you
your
can
dad. So
talk to
what?
them? Why are you calling little boys and girls talking about your dick in your semen? Go ahead.
There you go.
Fire
For the
away.
18th time, you're saying the same thing. You have no
You are not
response.
telling anybody. Why are you claiming that you can read little boys' minds by touching their shoulder or giving them a hug or walking into the same room as them and sitting down and having a talk with them? Why are you making those claims, Richard?
I'm not making those claims, but you can keep saying that.
Okay, so you're
I'm
not
just
making
here.
those claims.
I'll give
So
you guys.
now you're acknowledging. Now, thank you.
We're
That's
not
what I
getting
needed to
anywhere
hear.
resolving.
That's what I needed to hear. Richard, ladies and
This
gentlemen,
isn't getting
Richard just
anything
admitted to
solved.
you that
I'm answering questions, but then just goes right back to
your
his.
voice is
Why are
getting
you calling me?
cracky.
I haven't
Now
called
you
you,
know
man.
that you can't
You got
trick
nothing,
me.
man.
You can't manipulate me. You can't send me
Sorry,
another
man.
photo of some guy getting raped and
I
stabbed.
mean, I know
in prison.
you're.
That shit isn't gonna fucking work here, Richard. You're getting exposed
What?
for the rest of your fucking life, bitch. I know you heard that.
I really don't
Exactly.
care, man. Nothing has happened. You've been on my dick
You
for
do
10
care.
years.
Your wife cares. Your
I
kids
just still
care.
get checks
And
from
your
fucking Dr.
kids'
Phil.
kids
I
care.
still get checks from all YouTube. I'm not really tripping,
Oh, you
man.
get all that
You bought me
money.
like
You're
3
so
PlayStations.
famous. You're so
Paid
rich.
my
You
rent.
can't explain
Done
to
all
the
kinds
American
of shit. I'm
people
not
why you're
tripping.
calling little
And
boys and girls talking
nobody
about your dick
believes.
and your semen. You're a low-life piece of shit liar. Your
I don't
daughter
care
fucking
what you
hates
say
you.
about me.
She
I
hates
don't
you,
even
dude.
matter in your
She
life. So
fucking
what would it
hates
matter if I
you.
was a
Her
great
girlfriend,
person
your
or a low?
daughter's girlfriend, fucking hates you. Your wife's sister fucking hates you. There's a reason why your wife said her family fell apart.
My
It's
wife's
because
my
they're
wife.
not
You're
cool
fucking
with you
dumb.
behaving
How
that
you
way
know my
with
wife's
children.
dick?
They're not
Well,
cool with it at
you're
all.
stupid.
You said
Yeah, I mean,
Dr. Phil, your life
my
is going to
wife
hell.
hates
You
me,
told the
but
truth
she's
for
with me
once.
every day.
Why
See,
are
that's
you
what
why
in
are
your
you
mind
claiming
you're
to be a
fucking
prophet,
weird.
Richard?
You're
Why are
believing what
you
you
lying to
imagine.
people? Why are you lying to people, Richard? Why are you continuing to lie?
About my wife living
Because
with
you're
me?
afraid of getting your ass whooped?
My
Are
wife
you afraid of getting your ass
Pardon me?
whooped? Are you afraid of getting your ass whooped by somebody in Sacramento because they find out you're really a child predator? Is that what this is all about? Are you afraid of getting your ass kicked because you're a
You
pedophile?
went on
And you know
Dr. Phil and
people
accused
kick.
me of that, and nobody's
Huh?
even
What's that,
fucking
buddy?
stepped
What's
to me
that?
one time.
What'd you say, Richard?
Nobody's.
What'd you try to say? Huh? Do
What
you
are you
speak
talking to?
Spanish, Richard? I think you have a better choice is speaking Spanish here. I think a lot more people are going to understand you if you start speaking Spanish at this point in time. Or maybe better yet, start speaking alien for us, Richard.
Oh, is
Did
that,
the
is that what you're
aliens
just
show you how
trying
to
to
speak?
start shit, Benny?
Huh? Richard, hey,
I like
did you
this.
cure cancer?
You sound like
Richard, did you ever cure cancer? What happened to that?
Benny,
Why
this
did
is
you say
what
you were
you
going
do.
to cure AIDS?
You know his mental.
Hey, Richard,
So
no,
you'll
this has nothing
say
to do.
something,
Hey,
and then
why
he
are
gets
you going after
excited.
Benny?
Like right now,
You
listen.
said you wanted to talk to me. Here I am on the phone, and all of a sudden you can't answer the simplest questions. Why are you calling little children claiming you can read their minds by touching their shoulder? Why would you do that? And then lie about it on Dr. Phil.
Then I give you an answer, and then you ask the same question 10 more times.
You said you didn't do that, and we all know now you did. So why are you lying? Is it because
And
you're
then
afraid
you ask
people
the question
are
again,
going to kick your
correct?
fucking ass?
But you won't
Are
answer.
you
But
afraid
you
you're
won't
going to get your
answer
ass
one of
kicked
my
or something?
questions.
No, nobody has to answer any of your questions, Richard. You're a pedophile.
Okay,
You're
then.
not
There's
in
no
the
reason for
position.
me to be
You're
here.
not in the position to ask questions. You're not in the position
I
to
don't
set up
give a fuck, but
interviews.
you ain't in
You're
no
in the
position
position
to
to
do shit.
shut the fuck up. That's what you're in the position to do. Shut the fuck up, lay down, and
It
don't
doesn't
back out this
have
time,
jobs for
bitch.
me to call. Leonard
That's
doesn't,
right,
doesn't make
motherfucker. I
videos
told
about
your
me
fucking
anymore.
ass.
Oh, Leonard
You
does. He
can't
doesn't
be
fuck with me
honest.
no more.
You're not capable
So
of
I
the
don't
truth.
fuck with you.
You lied to
So
millions
I
of
don't.
people because you have a
Or,
narcissistic personality disorder that your own mom admitted you had before she died.
oh, so okay. So you spoke to my mom.
Okay.
Listen to this, please. Listen to this, please. So you spoke to my mom.
Okay, bro. Oh, you mad now, bro? Oh, you now, bro? Woo!
Leonard,
That's you, boy.
are you
For the rest of your life,
are you
Richard,
done?
your
Are you
future
done
is
screaming
exposed.
like a child?
Are you done calling little boys and girls about your dick and semen?
Leonard, you spoke to my mother. Is that what you
Are
said?
you? Are you done calling little boys and girls?
Hey, Benny, I'm done because he won't answer one single question, bro.
You don't
I'm
like
real cool
getting
with you,
called out, do
Benny.
you?
I see
You
you
don't
looking
like
for
getting
your
called
little
out, do you, Richard?
ratings,
You
and you're
don't
just
like getting
doing
called
this
out,
fire. But I do appreciate you trying,
Are you?
Benny. I'm not gonna hold no grudges against you, but you see,
Oh,
I'm,
2018,
yeah, I know you get
bitch, you
100
got
views, but I'm just
exposed.
saying, if this thing would have worked
2018,
out, you
bitch,
could
you
have got
got
a lot of views. But
exposed.
you just acting too strange.
2018, bitch,
And
you
let
got
me stop, and you'll just
exposed.
listen to what he's doing. Just listen.
Well, Leonard has real questions too. It's true. I did have real questions. Richard didn't have one real answer, unfortunately. I'm really sorry to the
No, you
audience out there.
had 10
We gave
questions, but they
Richard
were
a
all the same
solid
question,
opportunity
Leonard.
to answer to like all the claims that he's made. But the truth and fact of the matter is, there's one answer. Richard's a liar. He's a pedophile.
Okay, well, I'm a
You can't trust him.
And you aren't a liar?
Yeah, Richard, you're a liar. You went on national TV and you told people you weren't calling people saying you could read their minds by touching their shoulder.
Yeah, you went on national TV and said I was lying about the FBI. And when we asked you about that, you said, no, yeah, I did
You
probably.
claim to be a prophet. You're not
I
a
only
prophet. You can't read
watch
people's
now. He's not
minds.
gonna
You can't predict the
answer nothing.
future. You can't predict the past. You can't predict anything. You can't even predict your
Yes,
own
I
future.
can. Yes, I can.
Isn't that a bitch? Oh, maybe that's why you make up all these lies, is to make you feel better about the world that you can't control.
Nobody can control this world. Obviously, you can't, because you aren't doing well at all right now.
Well, I've controlled you.
You would be with your children.
I have controlled you, baby. Hey, go put that video back online where you say you're a prophet. You're not going to do that. Why? Because I controlled you.
No, I'm going to
go
put
that video back online where you're calling little boys and girls.
When
you're calling little boys and girls saying you can read their minds. Go put that video back up. You can't, because I'm controlling you. I'm controlling what you can and can't say. I'm controlling what you can and can't do. That's because
we're on your fucking channel, but in the real world.
In the real world, you can't do shit. In the real world. You want to continue to talk about the real world, Richard? Was it the real world you watched that little girl get raped when you took off your clothes? Is that the real world you want to talk about? What happened to her body? You don't want to talk about that no more, do you? He ran. Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, let me calm down. Benny, I'm sorry. I stopped looking at your screen. I'm sorry. That was good. You're right. Ladies and gentlemen, for anybody out that was not planned, I had no idea Richard was going to come on today. I wouldn't have done it had I known that Benny was going to try to do that. But you guys got to see what happened. You all got to see what happens when you ask Richard those critical questions. He shuts down. He didn't have the answers. And the reason he didn't have the answers is because he lied. And he knows he lied. And he knows that all of you out there are figuring this out slowly but surely. And you're also figuring out that Dr. Phil can't be trusted. I trusted him. I trusted Dr. Phil. I watched him for years. I thought he was a good dude. I really did. It's the only reason why I agreed to do that show and to give him a second chance. And I got burned badly. I want to thank Benny for putting this together, taking your time to put this together. Benny's been trying to put this together for a couple of months. If there's one person on this planet that always checks in on me, sees how I'm doing, it's always Benny, dude. Benny's dope. So for anybody out there, if you see Benny's YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share. Benny's going to be the one that gets these future updates to you guys when I file my lawsuit against Dr. Phil. Benny's going to be the one that's going to be presenting all that stuff from his channel. So you guys tune in because it's going to blow up. As you guys can see, Richard, this is a dangerous person here, and I'm going to take care of it. So Benny's asking, are there any qualities you admire about Rick? Are there any qualities? It's hard for someone to ask me to speak good about a person when they've done this type of stuff to you. If you guys heard the phone call, Richard's done some crimes against me. He's gotten away with it. I don't think there's a good quality in that person. I think what you guys just saw was the ill quality. That's the cancer that's in Richard. You know, I think that, you know, Richard is a victim of Richard's own
narcissism, and I truly do believe he has a narcissistic personality disorder. It's a disorder. Of course, Benny here is stating, Richard said he's willing to make peace with you. Of course, Richard's willing to make peace. Look what he's done. Richard found out that after 7 years of or maybe 10 years of telling lies, it didn't work. Of making up newspaper articles, it didn't work. Of getting me fired, it didn't work. Getting, my school taken away, it didn't work. Messing with my kids, it didn't work. Getting on national TV and lying, it didn't work. Nothing is working for Richard, as you can see. And so, of course, Richard now realizes he has to try, because I know what awaits Richard in this whole thing. I know what's playing out here. That's why there's this fight. And, unfortunately, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. And Richard's having a hard time facing that right now. He's having a hard time dealing with that right now. Because just like when I walked down the street, everybody recognized me, Richard had the same experience, and he still does to this day. The only difference was Richard got accused of being a child molester. And then people went and looked online, and they saw some footage that makes you ask, is he a child predator? And I think that the answer is yes. It's quite clear. The answer is yes, unfortunately. And I'm not happy to say that. It's not like I get to give everybody a high five and say, hey, there's one more evil person in this world that we have to look out for. I think nobody wins there. I don't win. He doesn't win. Nobody wins. So, well, and Benny here is putting on the screen. And once again, thank you, Benny, for taking the time to put this together, giving the audience a platform to see this. You put this together. You actually were able to get Richard to come on. And that took manipulation on your end from a skillful place. And I appreciate that. I mean, you know me to an extent, and you know him to an extent. So you were able to, that's why I like you. You're good at what you do. All right. So Benny here is stating Richard doesn't feel good about what just happened. And the reason why is because Richard wasn't able to control what everybody hears. And Richard wasn't able to manipulate me and to control me. Richard is really good with trying to distract a conversation really quickly. Within 5 seconds, he will acknowledge what you're saying, but then he'll follow it up with something he's going to distract the audience with so that you're talking about something different. And so I made sure to keep him on track, because throughout the years, I saw him manipulate me in that way. And so I'm like a wizard, dude. This takes years of experience. But at the other end, I had to talk over Richard, because if you give Richard the ability of setting up that platform to set the lie, he'll run with it. And so I wasn't going to allow him to even try to do that. And what I just did today is what I should have done on Dr. Phil. What I did today, I should have been that aggressive. But going on stage, it's hard to explain. Going into an MMA fight, you train for it, and then no matter how much you train, you get on stage and there's these lights, these cameras, these people, and adrenaline kicks in, and your training, depending on how good it is, either goes out the window or stays in the ring. That's what it was like for me. Going out there on stage, I wasn't aware of that environment. I wasn't aware of what I was up against, all the different factions that played a part into that. The audience, Dr. Phil, his producers, the script, everything. Richard, that was a big one, Richard. And so I know how to do it now. Before I didn't. Now I do. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm learning, but I'm passionate about getting this truth out there. That's good. So Benny's putting here on the screen, yeah, he left defeated, and that's good. He needs to feel defeated, because he has been defeated. And I don't want people to think that I'm some sick, sadistic fucker out here, but people need to understand that when you got a child predator who knows they're exposed, they've committed crimes, they've made up lies, and years later, their last-ditch efforts didn't work. And so what I've told everybody, and I'm going to say this loud and clear, if Dr. Phil had told the truth, had Dr. Phil showed the evidence that I actually had given them and still have to this day, I think Richard would have committed suicide because he didn't give himself an out. That's the problem with narcissistic disorders. They build themselves a different personality at childhood, because at childhood they have what's called a narcissistic trauma, something that happens that makes them create this ego that comforts themselves, okay? And so they build that from childhood. And once you destroy that, they have nothing else to fall back on, they feel. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, but I had to research who was this guy that was stalking me and destroying my life. I had to truly understand everything that it was that he was doing. I had to understand why he was making those claims to people on the internet. I had to understand who it was that I was really up against. And, you know, it's a sad situation. You know, I don't laugh at the thought of someone committing suicide. I don't think that's, you know, I said it, you know, yeah, when I'm angry, I say things that I don't genuinely mean. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. I just want people to pay for what they've done. I want justice to be served. So saying he killed kids, did you mean it or said it in anger? That he killed kids? I never once in this interview said he killed kids. What I said was, Richard told a story. No. What Richard wants to do is he wants to distract people because he knows what I've said. He knows everything I've said. And what Richard wants to do, listen. No, Benny, listen. Richard knows that he's a pedophile. So what he wants to do is he wants to say, oh, well, you said I killed kids. I'm not a kid killer. I might be sick in the head, but I'm not a kid killer. He's trying to minimize his behavior with throwing out this claim of, well, you said I killed kids. Let's distract his behavior of what he's really doing, and let's give him a way out. That's not what we're going to do. And we're not here to make peace. You know, Richard went on national TV and lied to the world. And that's something he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. No, there's not a chance that he's not a pedophile. You don't threaten to have someone falsely thrown in prison and raped for footage that he's, you know, just because I had footage of him talking to some kids. You don't threaten to have someone raped if you're not a pedophile. If you are a pedophile and you are afraid of being caught, then yeah, you're going to threaten to have someone raped and falsely imprisoned if they go on a Dr. Phil show. I've seen, Richard has admitted to me that he was attracted to little kids. He's admitted this to me in chats before. People don't know who this Richard guy is. He's completely different when he's with me alone. If there's someone else in the room, he puts on his angel hat. You guys aren't seeing the real Richard. He's a sick, evil, twisted person. You got to be aware of that. Being aware is the first part. That's the first step. Then you got to do some serious research. And that takes time. So when Benny asks me, even after all this, even with the anger in my blood and shit, do I think Richard's a pedophile? Fuck anger. Yes, I think he's a pedophile. That's why I ran this whole fucking campaign against him. I'm not out here doing this just because I'm angry or that I'm mad or that my feelings are hurt. You know, fuck that. So Benny here is asking, what are your requests for Richard to make peace? There is no option for peace. You don't get someone fired from a job. You don't stalk someone at their school to where they drop out. You don't cause turmoil in a relationship to where my life is harder. You don't lie about me. You don't lie on my name. You don't lie on my blood. You don't threaten me. You don't threaten to have me raped. If you do, then I choose what happens. You don't. That's how this world works. Absolutely. So Benny here is asking, so do you have any proof he's a pedo or just a guess from his tendencies? So Benny here is getting a little wishy-washy, and that's fine because Richard couldn't explain his behavior. Remember, we all sat here and watched. Richard refused to acknowledge why he's calling kids and making these claims for all these years. Okay? He's a pedophile, guys. I know that nobody wants to know that. That's not, you go, hey, dude across the street's a pedophile. You don't want to know that. It's not something that I feel good inside when I say Richard's a pedophile. I don't feel good when I say that. It's not like I'm just doing a smear campaign. He's a pedophile. He's a murderer. Blah, blah, blah. No. When you're out there luring children on the phone with lies, you're manipulating kids to talk to you on the phone with lies, and then you continue to lie to them, and then you lure them to meet you under this pretext that you're a prophet that can read their minds and help them in their own life by touching them. That is a pedophile. That is a predator. That is a sociopath. That is a narcissist. So until people are able to acknowledge what it is that we're seeing, then you can't ask me, well, do I really think he's a pedophile or these tendencies? You can't explain why he's calling children. In your wildest mind, nobody could explain why he'd be calling kids with lies like that. And then to lie about it afterwards. And then to shut down once everybody knows you're lying. Is Richard a compulsive liar? Absolutely. Did his compulsive lies get him into a lot of trouble? Absolutely. Is Richard setting a fine example of why you should never tell a lie and then to try to cover up a lie with another lie and then another lie? Yeah. Because next thing you know, you might be 49 years old, washing dishes, walking around the city with your head down. There's no chance for peace. And that's why Richard's been on this vendetta of, let me get Leonard on the phone and into not acknowledging the truth and what's really happened. It's not how this works. You can take a look at a lot of mass shootings that happened recently. It's not how shit works. Richard really wants to work things out. I'll say this, get your ass back on Dr. Phil. Get your sorry ass back on stage. Because we do have some unfinished business. And I'll be honest with you, he got his ass back on stage. Yeah, the whammy would be really tough, but I tell you what, it's a lot better to go out fast like that than to bleed out slowly. Because that's exactly what I'm going to do to Richard. I'm going to bleed the life out of him slowly. There isn't one place he's going to go where people aren't seeing this footage I have on him. Not one, and he knows it. His kids know it. He's falling apart. Will there be a follow-up episode? That's a good question. I didn't think Dr. Phil was going to air what happened. I knew that Dr. Phil would have to lie to air what happened, and he was willing to do that. So Dr. Phil has proven that he's willing to lie. Will Dr. Phil go on stage again and lie? Damn, yeah. So will there be a follow-up show? Probably. Will I be a part of it? Probably not, because Dr. Phil knows I'm suing him. Whether I win or lose, I'm suing him. And everybody's going to see why. I believe, Benny, I believe you asked Richard the same thing. Was Richard willing to go back on the Dr. Phil show? And I believe in the last interview you had with him, he said, hell no. And if you're getting accused of being a child molester or a child predator, you would go on stage and clear your name. You wouldn't run. You wouldn't hide. That's what he's doing. I missed that last question, Benny. What was that? All right, so we're wrapping things up here. That's for sure. Based kind of tidying things up on his end. One thing I want to let the the audience out there know is just best thing you can do: educate your kids. Educate your kids on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Snapchat, YouTube, you name it. Teach your kids about those they're contacting or those that are contacting them. That's the best thing that can happen here, is for people to remember that there are predators in this world, and the internet has made predators work in a much different way than they did before. They don't go to the parks now. They don't go on the bike paths and wait for your kids to walk by. They get on their computer. They get on the internet, and that's how they get your kids. So be aware. Have talks with your kids. Make them aware. Have talks with your kids' friends. Be on the same page with them. I guarantee you, if a couple of girls came in and said, "Hey, Mom, there's this older guy saying he's a prophet and he wants to talk to us," I'm pretty sure Mom would know what to do.
File for temporary restraining orders, correct? He has stated that he was getting murdered. You made that representation to the police.
That is correct.
Okay, so when you make that representation, they'll grant the order. Okay,
That's
but
correct.
then they have an evidentiary hearing.
That's right.
And you have to prove that what you said was correct.
That's correct.
And when that hearing is held, then immediately the order was dismissed.
That is correct.
Okay, well, you went back on August 18th. He says,
That's right.
he, Richard, repetitively.
Okay, so Richard has now, it looks like Richard has now come back into the room.
Okay,
And-
so that was on August 18th.
We can all tell that Richard refuses to explain why he's calling little boys and girls talking about his dick. He doesn't want to go there. What he wants to do is he wants to take clips from the Dr. Phil show, where I actually have on this huge screen 4 stalking orders that I filed against Richard. And in those stalking orders, I mentioned the little child that Richard watched get molested by his friends. That's a fact. And Dr. Phil doesn't say anything about that in the stalking orders up there. But if you guys go to the Eugene Lane County Courthouse, you don't have to go there physically. These are public records. You can get them mailed to you, just like Dr. Phil did. Those stalking orders show, I told the judge that Richard got naked with a little child when she was getting molested. Richard didn't say anything. Richard admitted to making perverted videos of my child's penis in court. But that's not a physical threat. So that doesn't apply to a stalking order. Richard ran from the sheriffs. Richard stated that I said that Richard was running from the FBI. Richard, being the 5-foot Mexican that he is, with the size of nose that he has, can't run from the FBI. I never said that he was running from the FBI. What I said was that he was running from the sheriff's office, and that was the God truth. Because he knew that he had stepped over that line. Richard knew that I had filed 2 stalking orders. It was going to be the same judge. And the judge knew that Richard had a stalking order against me. Richard should not have been calling to my house, threatening me if I went on a Dr. Phil show. Richard should not have been sending me messages saying, "Hey, you're going to get put in prison if you try to get off that fucking jet." He was breaking the law at that point. So, playing the stalking orders is perfect. Playing the footage from Dr. Phil is perfect, because not only does it show you how Richard used the Dr. Phil show to lie to the American people, and he used that as an opportunity to not talk about these perverted talks that he has with children. Yeah. It's very odd. You guys all saw it. We're sitting here. We asked him maybe 100 times, "Richard, why are you calling children? Period." And it's a push and a little tug. You get 2 inches here, you get 2 inches there. "Oh, well, it wasn't a kid. She was 9 or 18. Okay, so you're talking to a girl. We got that much out of you. Great, because she was 13. So let's move forward. Now you are talking to kids. How did she get your number? Oh, well, she got it off of his YouTube channel where he was claiming to be a prophet. Well, why do you have this YouTube channel? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. This is a different topic. No, it's the same one.
It can be.
See, Richard is a con artist. And, after he steps away, he runs away because we're like, "Hey, you're claiming to be talking in reality here." Well,
You told everybody, millions of people around the fucking world, that you became a prophet after you saw a little girl getting molested. And instead of helping that little girl, instead of helping her, instead of fighting off those fucks, doing something, being a man, Richard took his clothes off and went and laid down next to a couple of guys who were having sex. And then Richard claims that he woke up and was called a prophet. Oh, hey, don't worry about it. They're just making perfect babies in space. That's what Richard says until you ask him about it. And then Richard says, oh, no, not talking about that. Not going to talk about it. That has nothing to do with this. You said I was running from the FBI. You said I killed kids. Do you see how Richard works? It's not hard. He's so easy to read. It's too easy. You go back to the very beginning. September of 2007, Richard made 10 videos where he said he was a prophet, went to the moon. Why? It's because he's a liar. Then the people that left comments on his YouTube channels, he'd always say, please leave a comment. Please share. Because he was so desperate for attention.
Faggot ass.
Right? He wants to talk about who's acting like a child. Who goes out there and makes a YouTube channel and starts recording himself with lies just so they can get kids to talk to him? That's like beyond childish. That's like pedophile. Oh, that's right. You're a pedophile. That makes sense now. So now you've walked your ass back in here after you ran the first time because you don't want to talk about why you're calling little boys and girls talking about your dick and semen in every phone call, or why you're claiming you can predict earthquakes and volcanoes, or why you're claiming that you're going to cure AIDS and cancer because aliens on the moon told you to do this, or why you said that you're going to be more important than the president or more popular than the president. Who says they're going to be more popular than the president? A fucking child.
Ever see you in my house, I'm going to fucking kill you.
And you know what? When it comes down to it, you threaten someone's child, you go and make perverted videos of their penis, and then you go and put this victim card, you're risking getting your head shot off. I don't recommend doing that to somebody else, Richard. I don't recommend going and sexually harassing children's mothers out there. I don't recommend going out there and making profiles and sexually harassing people. I don't recommend doing that. You can get hurt doing that, Richard. Try doing that to somebody down your street. Watch what happens. Try doing it and then lying and saying, hey, it never happened. Let's just make peace. Let's be friends now. You need to wake the fuck up. There is no way you're getting out of this. You can get your ass back on Dr. Phil. They want you back out on stage. You're the only one who's running. And the only reason you're running is because you're a pedophile and you're scared.
Right here, this register guard news article, so everybody knows. That's my dad. Just so you guys know, my dad went to prison for raping my sister.
Wow, so Richard is just playing random articles trying to distract the audience. But let's talk about Richard's dad. I mean, Richard, he claims his life got destroyed when he was a little boy because his dad left when Richard was born. Because Richard was Richard. Richard, why did your dad leave after you were born? Why did your dad take off? Why do you say that your parents' marriage was ruined when you were born and your parents got to see you like the first? Is that why they gave you up for adoption? Because you were adopted. Your adopted brother and sisters talk to me regularly about you and the condition that you have. So let's go ahead and continue to talk about people's family. Your daughter. She's what, 21 years old now? And you've had her believing that there was some guy wanting to rape her when it turned out that was a lie. How's she doing now? Now that she's recovering from a father who's abused her and psychologically warped her mind for the last, 10 years? How's your son doing, Camilo? How's he doing? All his friends at school approach him and say, we saw your dad on Dr. Phil. He was accused of being a child molester. We went online and we see these weird videos of him. What's going on? How do you think your son is handling every day as a young man with self-esteem, low self-esteem now because of you? I mean, it's bad enough that you went and gave him a bad heart, right? You go and you're a little weasel, Richard. You go back on the line and you play these little audio clips that you've edited here and there, but everybody hears your silence. And silence magnifies sound, Richard. The only thing anybody's thinking about right now is, why are you scared? What are you so afraid of? Kind of sucks when your biggest enemy is yourself. I think Richard ran. Yeah, it did. It did, Benny. Your text froze. on my end, Richard tried sneaking in here, playing little clips here and there, ain't gonna work. Yeah, and you notice how he didn't even say one word? Oh, shit. Well, hey, man. This has been fun. This has been real fun. I think that it's time we can cut this out. No, Richard, you had plenty of opportunities. You were a scared little bitch. You sat there silent like a little fucking bitch you are, a little pedophile that you are. And then the last second, like, wait, okay, I'll say something. Nobody wants to hear your ass. You're a pedophile. You're a con artist. I kicked you out of the UFO community like I said I would. Thank you. I controlled you. I kicked you off the internet. You're not calling little boys and girls about your dick and semen anymore. Thank you very fucking much. Try that shit again. Get your ass kicked, bitch. I stopped you. And I'm controlling you. And there ain't shit you can do about it. And you're pissed off about it. And guess what? That's just too damn bad. Lay the fuck down and black the fuck out, because that's all you're good at.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Right. So, Richard, when you're ready to tell people why you're calling little boys and girls, talking about your dick and semen, let us know. But in the meantime, go ahead and play these little childish, sit there and be silent, not say anything, right? You're a sad fucking person. 49 years old, Richard, and you're washing dishes for a living. Did you get what you wanted? Did it all work out for you? Did you ever write your book about going to the moon and becoming a prophet? But you got to learn English before you do that. Richard, spell that, please. It doesn't start with a D. Try again. Spell this. Okay, it doesn't start with a D, Richard. Try again. Richard knows how to spell this. Richard knows how to spell that. But Richard thinks he sounds cool if he says this or if he says that. That's how weak of a person Richard is. That's all there is to it. It's too easy. All right, Benny, I'm out of here. It was fun. Keep it real. I'll hit you up.
If he goes back on the internet and starts pretending to be this prophet figure that can read your mind by touching your shoulder,
Oh my God.
So
is
you
what
really
you said?
So you really don't want to stop.
No.
You want to stay engaged here. Because I've asked you if you'll just quit and walk away. If you see something that bothers you, call the authorities.
Well,
That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
I've done that.
Okay, because you've made a commitment here on national television that you're going to do something, and if you violate that, then it looks really bad for you. I want to thank all of my guests for being here today. Go to drphil.com for kill me. Richard sent me pictures showing my face bloodied up. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
yeah.
Did you do that?
What part are we talking about? I'm sorry, sir.
Cat's got you by the tongue.
No, I did get him fired. I didn't try to get him fired.